I feel like probably they want another set of bans just to be able to address it properly, and you don't want that immediate response to be able to come out. Like we still don't know again where exactly this tiny is going to be. We've seen a few teams run the silencer in the offlane position as well as mid,
Dire team
so
pick.
the lanes aren't necessarily
Mirana.
entirely revealed just yet. They're going to pair the Mirana, okay. More likely
Radiant
being the
team
Venge
ban.
combo, of course.
Spirit
Stun into
breaker.
easy Ari combination, and well, that's something that certainly punishes squishy heroes quite heavily.
Hmm. Is this what's going on with their draft now for Galaxy Racer? Like, what do you feel like is
10
more than
seconds
likely
remaining.
the support, and where's the Spirit Breaker playing?
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe it is a silencer off lane. You feel like you're not going to be gone on by the Clink's clockwork all that much. You're going to be able, like, Spirit Breaker doesn't care about a clockwork running into him. He can just look to trade and then quickly join in onto a kill lane, like the Tiny in mid, for example. I wonder if they're going to look to finish it up with a Morphling. We've seen so many times during the DPC lower division that Spirit Breaker Morphling was a great combination together just because of the Aghanim Scepter being able to get so much work done.
Yeah, I was thinking that if they were going to go Morphling, I wonder if they would have rather to pick it now.
Dire team
I feel like the Spirit Breaker, like, would you have
They
thought
wouldn't
to
have
ban
banned the
that?
Spirit
Yeah,
Breaker,
that's what I'm
no.
thinking. Like, now I think it's more obvious to get rid of the Morphling.
Radiant
Is
team
that is
ban.
what Galaxy Racer are looking for here. But for Yangon trying to find their position too for young PH, I mean, the Void Spirit taken care of. They do need another way to initiate fights. You just can't rely on the clockwork, and then, you know, maybe the Venge once she gets the Aghanim. So is there any standouts at the moment with
10
the
seconds
two spirits
remaining.
gone?
I mean, there's still the Storm Spirit, but again, you're
5
against a
seconds
Silencer and a Spirit
remaining.
Breaker and instant Hex with the Lions. So I'm not sure if that's the best way to go about things. So what really is there left to be able to use for initiation? Bat Rider's removed from the pool as well.
Dire team ban.
Wow, they keep the
They
Morph in.
okay.
Radiant
I just
team
I'm just
I
pick.
thinking like maybe they're going for some kind of like siege pick now on Yangon because like none of these heroes do it super well. You know, Clinks these days doesn't really build into the Desolator, at least not super early. He's more inclined to try and get those orb effects, which are always going to be landing during the Burning
10
Barrage. So,
seconds remaining.
uh, again, maybe just something that's going to have an easier
5
time at being
seconds
able to take these
remaining.
towers, but it can't be something super squishy. It's not a bad Death Prophet game.
yeah, I'm just intrigued on the interpretation of that hero right now from a lot of the teams. Like, no one is picking it up at all in games where we thought it might look a little bit decent. They could definitely opt into the DK if they want, I feel like, a route to take objectives, because he can be the body I feel like they need, a great setup for the Mirana. Like, if you're needing
Good
somewhere
in
to take
lane against
objectives,
Tiny.
yeah, if that's what you're
If needs
worried
to be.
about, then I feel like DK might have a bit of a better of a time than the Death Prophet.
Dire team pick.
Okay, so they
Templar
just go
assassin.
for carry
It's
matchup.
naturally like one of the best
Huh.
Tiny matches in the game. So that might mean that we go for a little bit of a flex here from Galaxy Racer. They wouldn't run the Spirit Breaker mid, would they?
No. That sounds like a free
You
lane
sure?
for
10
TA. I
seconds
do not think they
I mean, it's
will.
also Tiny is a free lane for TA, so is it a
5
silencer
seconds
It's
mid
not the
then?
word. Yeah, I mean, any lane that doesn't like heavily counter TA, you're gonna farm. But I don't know if I like TA. They are very farm intensive from Yangon. You have to hit a huge mid game timing, and they're gonna go into the Magnus. So
Now select your heroes.
is this a one or
Oz 1 Magnus? I'd
yeah?
say. Nope. Yes, yeah, it is. Mid Tiny into the TA. I mean, this should be a very easily one lane for the TA, provided that there's not some super early rotations coming through from the Spirit Breaker. Is that does Skille have the golden Mirana head?
Yes.
Very pretty.
Yes.
Sparkling everywhere.
Can you even tell that it's golden? How do you know it looks that pretty then?
You trying to flame my colorblindness?
I'm just saying. I'm just don't know if you can. You were questioning it like you didn't know if you could tell if it was or not.
Well, it might just be a different set altogether that I'm confusing it, but it looks like the more recent set, right?
I have to check in game to see if it is, but are you a bit worried that Yangon are too farm intensive? Because that's how I'm looking at the draft at the moment.
This is an offlane Spirit Breaker as well, by the way.
Hmm.
So he's going to be able to get a decent amount, and again, I feel like Mizu's just going to sacrifice his game. You know, he wants to constantly be running it. The Clinks, the TA in particular, the big timing for Galaxy Racer is going to come around the tiny Blink Dagger, of course, as it always does, but it's going to be so easy to just get consistent pickoffs on any of these heroes, and well, their defensive vision had better be on point, because I don't think even in your triangle you're going to be in a safe spot. And like you mentioned, it is very farm intensive. So if Galaxy Racer don't punish it, you know, fantastic. If you're able to dodge out all of these ganks and know the positioning of the Spirit Breaker consistently, then you're in a really good spot. But the question is, are they going to be able to have that sort of freedom? Time will tell.
Oh.
Pause again.
That one's DC'd at least, so it's okay. It's not the worst start.
I did tell them that reasoning as well for why the DC could have happened, and I was told thank you for the information. So maybe that's what happened, and it's a learning experience. You know, it won't happen again.
Yeah, hopefully now that they won't make the mistake. If anyone is unaware, would you like to remind people that maybe didn't hear the reasoning of how that issue could happen?
So if you're needing to reconnect to a game, do not type quit in console, because I believe you won't be able to reconnect as things stand right now. Just do it the old-fashioned way, you know? Press the little up button in the top left. Press the, does it even look like a power button still? In the main screen? Yeah, it does look like the power button, and then just reconnect that way, and you should be totally fine.
We'll see if Yangon can reconnect on their early performance they had in game one. Again, the question is it too greedy? Because I'm looking and I'm personally not a huge fan. I mean, they've got 4 ranged heroes. It's going to get to a stage where Clinks can get pretty beefy. I mean, you did nerf the Death Pact a little bit, so it won't be as fast, but we've seen sometimes like a third item, Iascardi. Depending on if he's like against a range carry, we can see that a little bit more earlier. He's not this game, so it might be a later stage item for Hal, but they are so farm intensive, and Galaxy Racer, Mag is as well, but you've got a playmaker in the Tiny on Alacrity. It looks like they should have a pretty decent lane, I believe, with Mizu and Yokam as well. I mean, you're up against a... What's the 5 actually? Okay, so it's a Clockwork 5... How do you feel like Clock's actually going to be able to play that lane? Because I'm worried that maybe Spirit Breaker and Lion can get a lot of kills. Do you feel like Clock can be like the defensive guardian almost?
You can try. I don't think the Lion SB should be able to do anything about the Clinks, but honestly, I don't know what exactly Clockwork's really going to do in this lane. You know, it's going to be all about manipulating the lane as much as he can, spending time trying to keep the hard camp warded up and dewarding the small camp so that the lane's as close to your tower as possible. I feel like the only time that Lund's going to have some sort of like fighting presence in the lane is when they go for a bit of a deep dive with the Spirit Breaker, you know, trying to outplay, particularly around the tower, as much as possible.
Time will tell for Yangon if they can hit the timings that they're looking for. They're going to have a pretty big spike here around Aghanim's on Venge, and hoping that the cause will have maybe 2-3 items by that stage as well. But again, Galaxy Racer should be able to mirror this and maybe even a little bit faster with all their blinks, and in your dream also being in the safe lane, he should be able to get his 2 items that are a lot more rapid of a rate as well. So, I mean, we'll see Yangon. It feels like they don't have a lot of margin for error in this draft.
No, for sure. It's all going to be about how do you punish? You know, if Galaxy Racer punish the passive game style that Yangon are almost definitely going to go for, they've got a good shot. But again, if YG are able to avoid, then I feel like they have a solid chance of being able to pull this one out.
At least we get a bit of a treat as well with the cow in the off lane. You know, Miz has been flexing some of his hero pool, showing that he definitely has the capability to pick up multiple heroes. We were always impressed with his introduction to the offlane and how he so easily picked up that role, and now he's on a bit of a different style of hero than we saw for him in the last game.
He's going to go in terms of his itemization as well. Obviously, the phase boots is great for the extra armor that you have. When you have a look at it, I mean, almost all of the damage right now on Yangon is physical. So will Mizu opt to go for something like, hell, even a Crimson Guard to be able to enable that that super early aggression coming out?
So first couple of waves through Alacrity should be pretty decent versus the TA. You've got an easier way to secure your range creeps, yes, with the tree, but once the Templar Assassin starts hitting a little bit more levels, Alacrity definitely is going to be in a bit of trouble. Both these mid laners have outplay potential. We saw previously Alacrity being able to toss back the position 2 to find that kill very early on, but TA with side blades, if you can line them up perfectly, can also harass it at a very high level. So it's a matchup on paper you'd feel like is TA favored, but it's definitely not the worst at all. I'd probably even argue like maybe 45-55.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty damn TA favored. Once you're able to get a few levels up into the lane, they get the first blood onto the bottom side. Honestly, Lund's positioning has been pretty good. He got a lot more harass out onto the team than I was expecting, but then he just walked past a courier that was coming down the lane with a healing salve for the Spirit Breaker, so didn't end up denying that one away from Mizu, and he ended up trying to chase it into the trees, and it cost him his life.
One of what I mean, given all the gold you camped to Yokam, so a bit earlier of a blink timing potentially. He also gets the pull off as well, as they protected their hard camp. They didn't even have to unblock it as well. So this is great use of the early advantage that Galaxy Racer had. They shoved in the lane, reset the creep equilibrium, and now they're going to be in a position to go once again.
Going to be only the 3-minute mark when they're going to have the small camp available for themselves. So it's a few little mistakes that Lund's made in the lane so far. You know, how I'm sure wasn't expecting to need the pooled tangos coming through from his clockwork immediately, this early on into the laning stage.
Do you feel like top lane Yangon have a lane that can find kills on the Magnus, or is it just more the squishy silencer? Because they've got a decent way to set up for the arrow.
They do have a decent way to set up for the arrow. The Magnus is pretty beefy as well. You can see he's only got the 1 point skilled at this point in time. Just wanting to understand how the lane is before looking to commit there. You still do have a good chance, on the Venge in particular, to get a nice skewer off if you're in position.
Underneath the bottom tower though, they've set up for a dive. How? Be okay for the moment. He's got to run back into Mizu, feeling like he didn't have a different escape route. Just had to bear the brunt of the Spirit Breaker, and well, now Lun as well is going to be the target. They don't glyph up the creep wave, so won't enable the further dive on Lun.
I don't think they mind, you know, as long as they're getting rid of all of these range creeps.
That was a lot more damage than I was anticipating. I was watching it, but I didn't think the last tree throw was going to do as much, and Alacrity having quite the time at the moment.
Even sniping away the bounty route as well. So nicely done there, blocking up the ancient camp with an observer ward. The fact that it hasn't been punished is pretty damn significant. That's a lot of golden experience differential going the other way.
Alacrity even farming up the small camp, then blocking it as well on his way back around. So see, just all the little things at the moment doing very well for Galaxy Racer. They have put a lot more emphasis on playing this bottom lane, I believe. So no stacks at the moment for the Magnus to fall back on, but for the triangle, but they will be able to get that at some stage.
Paulson's still done a few inside his own jungle, right? It's just a couple of medium camps, but sure, you could feel fairly happy about that.
There's a 2-level
Alacrity as well. I mean, now the lane is fine. You know, the big
Yep.
weakness for the Tiny is that you don't have armor, but now you're sitting pretty. That bonus 12 in addition to all the stats. He went the chainmail first instead of the blades of attack, just to make sure that every little bit was going to be beneficial for it.
Yeah, it can get to a stage where at like level 4 and 5, the Tiny can just kind of avatos the lane, and you don't really have to go head to head if you've maybe had a weak or early couple waves and you just play off the back of refilling your bottle. So it's a lot easier now because of all the power runes. It's going to get a decent amount of damage on young PH, but he's just playing so aggressive with his advantage right now. I mean, Jesus.
At least the rotation through from Skill A is going to be able to get rid of the catapult, not keep the consistent pressure onto the tower. Got to be careful here with the envenomed weapon ticking out onto him.
Oh, nicely played, Alacrity, just doing the long range attack. I was looking to see if he had enough mana for the toss. Now Skill A's in trouble. One leap charge, but they have the chain control, and Alacrity. This is a big issue they've got to deal with now. We were highlighting the slower lineup on Yangon and the fact that he's going to have a incredible blink timing.
Yep. Even now a 2-level advantage. This Observer Ward, remember, Observer Ward, not even a Sentry Ward, has given complete vision over the triangle area, has blocked up the tri-camp, so no stacks for the TA to be able to potentially come back into this game. And even there, you can just see the Sentry Ward denying the small camp. So young PH, he's feeling a little helpless right now. How many times do you see a TA at the bottom of the core's network, 6.5 minutes in?
And it's off.
So funny watching the cow. I mean, I still cannot believe status resistance is given to the hero for free on Bulldoze. Such a broken concept, but they didn't
Just
change it.
1 point is so much value.
Like 34%? What?
Yeah. I think if it was like, what would be balanced? Like 10, 30, 50, 70?
I don't think you have 70 at maxed out. That's ridiculous. On an 8-second
it is
down?
at the moment.
I know, but I feel like you have to change that. Like with what you were saying, 10, 30, 50, 70, I don't know. That's, I feel like you got to reduce the max out at some stage. Just,
Boom, there
you just can't deal with him when he levels it. I guess the nice thing is that, one of the later abilities to put multiple level points in, but you still see already like 1 is plenty here. They're gonna go on Yao. Gyurkam's a little bit behind. He still gets an incredible Earth Spike nonetheless on 2 heroes. Is his distance enough? Swap in. Actually just gets the Hex preemptively on Zorain. But he still will end up falling, so that's a rotation early from the Vengeful Spirit, who was looking honestly to have a very good lane top. He's got 41 last hits in the moment, but looking to try and relieve some of the pressure down bottom for Hal.
Haste.
Even picked up 1 portion of his Aghanim Scepter already, so it does help things out a little bit. I don't feel that the farming has been enabled, though. This is a core rotating to another core's lane, and Klink's super early on before you pick up that Maelstrom. You're not an effective jungler.
The person who is, it's good old Magnus over here, second in net worth, still has multiple stacks by the outpost to fall back on. They haven't prioritized him at their triangle just yet, so I wouldn't hate to see Galaxy Racer funnel a little bit extra into In Your Dream.
Conceal yourself.
Takes those stacks now as well, so he's looking pretty happy with himself, with how he's been able to come out of this laning stage. A fair ways ahead from the Venge, who again didn't have a bad laning stage at all. It's just you're very single target focused on Yangon Galacticos right now.
And slowing down the Ags timing. Yeah. There are a bit of issues on Galaxy Racer with taking early objectives. I guess Tiny would toss, but I mean it's a long cooldown. You don't have like a position 3 to help out, or Enchantress Chen in that regard. Maybe with just all the extra kills they get across the map, it'll get them in a stage where they can just eventually find the objective. But it still will take them a while until In Your Dream has a lot more items.
They took away the bounty rune at least. I believe that was young PH that Sorry, it was Lund that went and picked that one up.
Scanning.
To be able to deny it away from them. In your dream, he's not going to be able to take any kind of stacks inside his own triangle. Instead, he's looking to see if there's been any established on the Radiant side of the map. There's a charge coming through onto the TA. Has to be careful with the positioning here.
They cannot group up. In your dream doesn't find a connection on the skill ring. Mizu's going to give them ample time to clean off Lund.
Low.
Just pushing back at least the TA, which is extra damage they need to clean off Alacrity. Is going to go for a TP out to the urn. Doesn't tick him, and he'll make it simultaneously. Mizu picks up a double from the Space Cow.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And that's the thing. You don't even need to use your TP to get back to the lane. Instantly use the charge, get back to farming. Going into that Shadow Blade. So just wanting these high impact items super early on. Again, he's already got plenty of additional armor from the phase boots and the ring of protection.
Tower is under attack.
Are there any items you'd like in particular here for Mizu?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Just thinking, like, is a Solar Crest a decent one this game? Wouldn't be too bad. Like, again, you're not the one that's going to be doing a lot of this right-click damage. It's just about enabling the rest of your team. Tiny, Magnus, notorious for having slow-ish attack speed, so being able to buff that up is always going to be great, as well as the offensive potential as well, just being able to use it to potentially ease the Roche taking.
Okay, well, he's going for a Midas on the Spirit Breaker. Mizu doesn't hate his Midas at all.
I know, but it's like, it secures you the later game, I suppose. But I was like, okay, he's gonna go these really like enabling things super early on. Keep the pressure on. Nope, it's a Midas.
Oh,
I suppose that means he doesn't need to continuously farm, right? Like, as long as you're prioritizing not having the massive Pidus there, you could just look to join and then let that do the farming for you, essentially.
Radiant, they're grouping up for a smoke. They're going to try and stand behind the TA, maybe dangle young PH a little bit, but Dire, they're going for their own move, replicating a fight in the middle lane, but let's blink away. Mizu still has the bulldoze, hasn't used it just yet, but Global Silence won't give him any opportunity as well. I don't want to commit too heavily on the clockwork on the higher ground, but the only issue is this is all Rain can just swap back Polish on. At least he got the ultimate of the fight, so not the worst hero to lose, as Alacrity just has a free fight now, as he can jump in and drop the combo. Cleaning off one of the supports, and also they'll zap down the Venge.
Dire's middle tower
So it's something. They're going to look to continue to try and chase down young PH here, with even stealing away the bounty rune.
Can they get in range?
No
Just
refraction for
toss
5
him
seconds.
Up in the air, Yokam. Oh, nice body blocks from Alacrity. They're still trying to converge on the area here from Yangon, so they'll just turn, get the easier kill in the Mirana. So, Alacrity?
Go. Never mind.
You see, instantly, it's like, okay, refraction, yeah, I'm just going to TP out. Now they're in trouble, though, with the backline. It's in your dream. You can still to get some distance away. The team's coming over as well. Maybe you can drag back one into the RP. But it's only Polison to be able to utilize the big ultimate, and now the Silencer as well has compromised his own positioning as how some way picks up a triple.
That's just feeding way too much money over to Hal there. I felt like the RP perhaps came a little bit late. You know, if he's able to get that off a bit sooner, he can clean up the kill himself. Look to get away with the extra life, not get the extra right click in from Hal. But still, not bad that the Silencer was there to pick that one up. He steals some permanent intelligence over. Going for a little bit of an earlier oriented build. Obviously still looking to max out that Arcane Curse, considering how aggressive Galaxy Racer are trying to play.
I mean, that is very much going to slow down the blinks, though, from Galaxy Racer. Yokam, 1,500 gold, and for In Your Dream, he is got 1,700 gold at the moment as well. So after these camps, he should be very close to it, but they would have very much liked to win that fight just to then scale it into more momentum with these fresh items. Can look to go again, though. A smoke up behind that T1 tower. Alacrity, of course, with the blink still. They don't have the Finger of Death. We'll see if the burst is enough just through the Tiny.
Man, young PH is just playing so scared. He like pushes out a wave, immediately blinks back, uses the pig pole to be able to get back to safety as much as possible. He knows how much of a constant threat this Spirit Breaker is.
Then
They've locked on to Venge, and this should be an easy kill for them to find. Beautifully done. See if they can transition this into anything else now. They still haven't taken the tier 1 tower mid, but Blink is now getting delivered on the mag. 20 seconds until RP. They're just going to look to brute force down the lane.
Annoying actually on the silences. So you would have said that he's in range of
Radiant's
that
middle
instill,
tower is
right? Like he
under
was pretty
attack.
damn close by, but the fact that he,
Dire's top
started to
tower
run
is
away
under attack.
broke the range of the steal. It's only 925. That's not the biggest radius there to be able to try and secure some permanent intelligence for yourself.
It's always weird with the range of the intel grab.
Radiant
Like
are
you think
scanning.
you're a lot closer than what it really shows. For another play on maybe a dewarding expedition, but nice toss back from Galacticos. This time a lot of hate too. Your cam, it's like, all right, I'll just drop the finger of death. A little bit unnecessary, but they will get the intel for Polo Sun, and also Blink Dagger can complete a young PH. They've got vision on him.
Careful here.
Continue the
Breaking refraction
chase.
charges.
So they got one more available. Now with the backup coming through from Galaxy Racer, they'll just target down the Templar Assassin. Nice swap away, but Vineyard Dream wants to. He can't actually gap close with the skill already used. So Zorain, oh! Okay. Oh,
Cheeky.
nice little play.
Was that the tomato giving him the clap?
I think it was a good right click, so I just did it.
Okay, the potato took him down.
How is underneath an observer ward? They're coming over as well, Yokam. There's the reveal of the Blink Dagger. An early pickup at this stage of the game. He just lost the extra death pack as well. So in your dream, no messing around. We'll drop the RP just to prevent any assistance from Yangon. And is now going to slow down the Clinks, who is looking to topple the mag on top of the net worth.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
We'll get there again until young PH picks up this. Able to get away just in time between the mini stuns there, with the refraction being available. But yeah, until he picks up this Desolator, it doesn't feel like they're going to be able to make any kind of aggressive plays. The fact that they've been able to take the top tower is pretty standard, but mid lane, I'm sure this is one where they were hoping to try and maybe get a tiny bit more out of the map, particularly the laning stage. I mean, the fact that Tiny just dominated the mid stage is probably not something that they were expecting.
Telling you the matchup's not that bad.
I'm telling you what it is.
They really want this
Radiant's
tower.
middle tower is under attack.
It's going to open up the map with the Spirit Breaker, with the Blinks, but again, it's showing that the lack of potential they have to get this objective seems to be a bit of an issue. So it's just giving still more time for Yangon. I mean, they're not... The issue is the farm is... It's continuing to grow on Galaxy Racer. You'd expect it to kind of stem off a little bit
Radiant's bottom tower
with their
is
farm
under
intensive
attack.
heroes.
Shadows take
Well,
us.
this might make them want to go. They've got the double damage now available on Alacrity. But, I mean, they're really close to picking up a bunch of items. What's that on the line? Not just the fluffy hat, but the 4 staff on Paulson and 170 gold away from picking up the Echo Saber on the Tiny. That's going to be the extra, little bit of burst damage that you might need to kill someone before the swap gets out, or, you're able to get off the secondary use of the refraction.
Owns the target. It's a great coax. He's going to trap in 2, but where's all the AoE damage to follow up afterwards? So even going to lay
alive.
down the global silence. Somehow Lun will keep the light, but they've locked onto the Templar Assassin. His skewer further away from any assistance. Zorain will attempt to put his body on the line, but it's still going to cost him his own life as well, as they'll turn their attention now to the Mirana. Still got a couple more leap charges in the arsenal, but Mizu still looking to hunt. Simultaneously, they'll jump onto Lun as well, so it feels like with all the mobility that Galaxy Racer have, they can just hunt down multiple heroes, and now finally they can transition this in to the costly tier 1 tower.
You would hope so. Yeah, with the Echo Saber now finished up on Alacrity, he's going to use it to be able to absolutely
Radiant's
chunk
middle
down that
has
tower.
fallen.
So much more map to be able to utilize now for Galaxy Racer. See how close they are to their next set of items too. I mean, almost BKB on the mag. They might lose Yokam here. Zorain got a swap Not gonna go for it.
I think the fact that he joined in on that previous fight and died pretty damn soon has led him to think, all right, I need this Aghanim Scepter. Because it's pretty slow, let's be real. It's nearly the 20-minute mark, and he's still 3/4 of a component away. I might look to go for a big smoke here to try and get a pick off. I mean, Global was used, but RP wasn't. So he's going to need to be mindful of that.
Well, they can take Roche very far. Oh, instant scan. This
Fast enough, though.
could not be good. They've got BKB, RP. The choke point fight from Galaxy Racer is going to be a mess for Yangon to deal with, but Lion? That's a very early jump. Maybe if they feed one by one, this will give Yangon an opportunity. Swap back in Alacrity. So we've got some heroes in the backline now. In Your Dream locks on once again. They blow up the Templar Assassin, just overwhelming with the numbers advantage that can almost surround him with ease. So now Yangon, maybe they're kind of, you know, tip the hat to Galaxy Race. You're like, all right, come in the area, take a fight, and now we'll bring Roche down a little bit lower for you to take.
Well, even that wave of terror going to help them a little bit. Obviously gives them the vision that they need, but I don't think you're in a spot to try and take this Roche in a 2v5 situation. It'll be quick though. Clockwork's coming back up. It's going to look to immediately use the rocket flare to try and scout things out. But I think he's just going to be a little bit too late. Maybe snipe the Roche? Oh, he does! Alright. A little bit of gold.
Silver linings, silver linings. And Silver's Edge already on Mizu. He's so farmed. Not what I would expect his position to be in the net worth. But this is Aghanim Zo for Zorain, so the Venge really only needs one item, but we're honestly stressing at how greedy of a lineup Yangon have, and there's a big reason why the Venge is getting an Aghanim's 21 minutes into the game.
What can they do with it, though? That's the key question. You know, you've got... That's the thing, again, about the Spirit Breaker. You could just be pushing out these other lanes. The way that Miz has been farming as well, he, like, lands one hit onto every single creep, and then he charges through it. And that's enough to clear the creep wave out while still looking to join in to the rest of your team. So he's farming and having a big map presence.
And sometimes they can even give him the Empower as well in a fight, which is gonna be nice even afterwards. Maybe just that's partially a reason why of how much net worth he has. I mean, he is 6-1-7 with a hand of Midas, so surprisingly he's even got more last hits than the Tiny, but I guess we've seen a lot of emphasis on Alacrity to get kills instead.
Someone made the big mistake of showing themselves for half a second. It's skill A. Will they be able to get the chain locked down? Of course they will.
Even need the zap on your cam. The damage is really starting to show on Galaxy Racer, and worried for Radiant, honestly. I mean, are they gonna hit a similar timing on BKBs? Clinks has got Scardy. He's actually going Aghanim Shard. He had a BKB queued up previously. And young PH, he's going for his own BKB as well, so it feels like they still need one more item to maybe give them an opportunity here.
It's not a big deal. I think with the Aghanim Shard, there was a slight nerf to that. I think they reduced the duration of it by 15 seconds or something along those lines.
Coming in.
Yeah, so now it's only 30, not 45 seconds that it stays available. I think in the context of a team fight, that's not super important. Oops, what?
Oh.
See you later, Silencer.
So sticking nearby. Skill A scouting them out at the moment. They use the Urn on Mag instead. But Alacrity can still blink on forward. They need a little space from In Your Dream. Maybe the Global Silence will give him that opportunity to put In Your Dream. They set up with the RP onto 2. They're going to target down the Templar Assassin. Now he can turn to deal with the Clockwork. He's still got the backup of Mizu as well to charge in forward. Even though Yangon found a couple of kills at the start of the fight, it looks like they end it with losing multiple Zorain still has Hao that's thinking of getting involved here. Yokam, let's see if he can get some distance away. So has to go up against the Aghanim's illusion. The instant hex will not give him the space. So Zorain ends up falling here with revenge. Luckily enough, Hao scurries himself to safety.
Jokam's positioning is just really good, it seems, in every single team fight. Even just using the safety of the Roche pit for that break in vision, meaning that Mirana can't look to follow up onto him. Same sort of thing with Avenge, and then looking to duck back out at the perfect time, get the next hex off, and enable a secondary kill.
Oh, it's continuing to... I mean, the net worth's not growing, but they still have the ages for another 50 seconds here. This won't be combined with their ultimate timing, so maybe they just use this to keep getting a little bit of farm.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Lose your tier 1 mid, though.
Dire's structures are
Are you?
fortified.
Gotta be careful. This is against a Spirit Breaker, let's remember.
Okay.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Big to get for Yangon.
Mizu only 700 gold away from his Aghanim Scepter. So quickly looking to farm towards the top side of the map. And then join the rest of his team. You've also got an AC being queued up by this Magnus. Of course, great for your own survivability and being able to stand and man fight against the likes of a Clinks or a TA. But yeah, just buffing up your team's own damage as well.
How has Mizu got more net worth than a TA? Like, that blows my mind.
Again, it's just the little things. Like he's farming creep waves by hitting the creeps once and then just charging through them, and that's enough to clear out the wave entirely. He's doing things perfectly. Just gonna wait for that point booster to reach him, and yeah, here we go, going for a charge. They know that the Moonlight Shadow's got a few seconds left on it, so just gonna back out in time. Might even look to give him over the level 20 here on this Spirit Breaker, just so you get the extra Charge of Darkness move speed.
They're gonna make an attempt, swap into Arrow. BKB's available, but of course with the perfect stun lock, didn't get an opportunity to utilize his Alacrity will, however. But a crafty way to get a pick off here. Yangon showing signs of life.
Hey. Mizu was literally just standing inside the ancient creep camp. I guess he must have been trying to look into that fight, but yeah, the fact that he wasn't there to join, of course, with the bulldoze, if you get that off beforehand, you're still going to have a lot of impact. You know, the silence probably only going to last for a couple of seconds or so.
Here you go. Here's the BKB timing I was speaking about. How when Young PH picking up at the exact same time. So yes, you still have the RP to go through, you know, Spirit Breaker stun and potentially global depending on when it's used, but we'll give them at least some opportunity to stand their ground and man fight.
Alright, well they'll get the tier 2, they'll take a little bit more control away around the the jungle, right before the 28-minute mark as well. So looking to get a little bit of extra experience advantage. I believe, yeah, TA's nearly finished up the level 20 as well, so that's going to be really nice to be able to have against the Silencer in particular. I feel like this game you go for the meld dispels as opposed to meld armor reduction, just to be able to avoid those constant ticks coming out onto you. You don't want to have to pop the BKB super early.
Either the Clinks is hitting some high levels as well. In fact, he's also top of the net worth on Hao, so getting to a stage where their greediness is paying off for Yangon. He's gone for the 125 attack range. So, see how he's able to play the outskirts of the fights. It's not going to be easy at all considering the gap close that Galaxy Racer have, but this is where vision is going to be such an X factor.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And we're seeing this time around the bench, Zorain, he's going for the Lotus Orb. I definitely like this whenever you're going up against a Silencer lineup, just to enable the survivability for your team. That's a pretty early BKB used.
Players here.
It's on out.
TA's gonna scout out Mizu. Remind me.
He's gonna scout out who, actually?
Yeah, was Invis, but he revealed himself. They see Alacrity also underneath the tier 2 tower. Okay, well, Looks like it might be another objective if they want the bottom tier 1.
Touching the top side just because you can get there in about, what, 4, 5 seconds on this Spirit Breaker?
Dire's bottom
Still,
tower has
they're...
fallen.
I was about to say getting full use
Radiant's
out of its
top tower
Aegis,
is
but they're not the ones that have the Aegis. They're just getting the use out of their BKB timings, wanting to make sure that they're taking away a lot of the map control that Galaxy Racer had up until that point, and yeah, that net worth lead is shrinking more and more. 40% win probability chance now for Yangon. Give themselves a solid shot. Who's Mizu going to look to run into? Did he break
1400
the
movement
smoke?
speed.
No, he didn't. He very briefly ran underneath the outpost, so they saw where he was just prior to connecting and onto that creep wave. But they know that that means that they gives them, what, a solid 5 seconds to maybe go for a kill? Paulson, gotta be careful here. Catches him.
No global silence potential now for a top defense. He bought back a while ago as well.
Yep.
So 70 seconds on the deck. We'll see what else they look to get out of the map. But feels like now Yangon playing with a bit of spring in their step.
I'd say the main priority for them is try and take this tier 2 tower. You've
Radiant's
got the
bottom
Clinks, of
tower
course.
is
You've
under
got the
attack.
Siege Creep.
Dire's top
You've got
tower
control of the
is under
outpost already, so if you need to buy back in the
Dire's
team fight, you're
structures
sitting in a
are
pretty good
fortified.
position. They know that the dieback was used, and then Roshan's going to spawn in a couple of seconds, although it seems like they've got something to say about that with Alacrity looking to TP in here.
Well, how's the target?
Regeneration.
Always have to keep in mind of the potential swap. A kind of big issues with Zorain on how he can position. Roche is up as well. So who's the target here for Galaxy Race? If they can find one here to contest, who do they have to bring down at the start?
Who does Yangon have to kill, or who does Galaxy Racer
Galaxy
have to
Racer.
kill? Oh, it feels like they've been pretty damn effective at winning their team fights whenever a TA's been caught out, and I feel like that's pretty heavily on Joken. You know, he always is in position to be able to get that chain locked down into the finger of death to finish things off. This is a ballsy move here by Mizu, who, by the way, Spirit Breaker again, sitting top of his team's net worth.
Boom, there it goes.
What's going on with this hero? Just, again, never would expect this. Level 22, getting close to the 25, and you know, is that what?
Be careful about not smoking underneath this observer wall that they've got here. They're all grouping up in the region. Will
Jesus.
they do it? Well, they look to back off a little bit. Maybe take over the outpost.
They have at least the Assault Cuirass for In Your Dreams, so it's going to mitigate a lot of the physical damage that Yangon currently have. Wonder what his next item is going to look for in the Magnus, but they're doing a very good job on Yangon just to somehow constantly avoid the high mobility that Galaxy Racer have.
Diego here. She's going into a nullifier, huh?
Dire are scanning.
I think the main priority for her is trying to burst through the silencer. That Ghost Scepter is not going to be useful for much of anything. Same thing with a couple of 4-stars that they've already got on their team. Hell, even just the Bulldoze, right? Being able to remove that.
Yep, anything you can to mitigate a lot of the tankiness from the Spirit Breaker, you will. But looks like we finally might see a fight break out down bot. Are they just going to instantly overwhelm the TA? Look to see if they go. A reposition comes into the frame, maybe trying to push him further away from the Avenger. Now with the Global Silence laid down on the first life, be able to lay through. Now they're dealing with the backline as well. As Lon's the next target. They don't have the damage to clean off the clockwork. Now Young PH can just BKB and blick up the high ground. He's looking to try and man fight In Your Dreams in trouble. It's a 2-man RP. There's not a lot of damage for the fall, but at the moment they're going to charge in forward, skewer back underneath the tier 2 tower. In Your Dreams looking to stand his ground and man fight, but they don't have the damage for the Templar until the last second. As Alacrity are blinking to look to clean up. So got to be cautious though, as Hal is incredibly difficult here to be able to go through with all his damage at the moment. And Radiant still have 3 heroes as well with Avenge Illusion. The detection of the bigger issues though, they can lock into Mizu. A buyback from Zorain wants the extra life if need be. Swap up in a couple seconds. Alacrity just gets himself to safety.
Under attack.
Still got that bottom tower that's able to be taken away, though. It was a pretty big deal that they were able to lock out that that TA wouldn't have had, doesn't have buyback because she bought out the nullifier and honestly didn't get that big of an impact out of it as Mizu looks to make another charge through trying to pick off the clockwork.
Oh, Zorain. Hell of a swap away. Alacrity should still be able to clean up the backline. Mizu, though, he's just recognizes the inevitable. He's got a buyback, but Yangon Galacticos playing these team fights to an incredible level. Skill 8 just unable to get the yours, though. Let's see if they can push down the lane. A lot of time has been spent here on catching the heroes, so Galaxy Racer up shortly, but Radiant doing an incredible job to bring back this game.
Yeah, and it's... Ooh. To say Alacrity might have been going for another kill there. Has to be careful, does have the buyback available, but that's the great thing about this Spirit Breaker. You know, you're instantly able to rejoin the team fight, even having that next Midas available.
Alacrity.
Probably...
Dude, how much damage is he doing? They've got 5 heroes. They might just overwhelm Yangon once again. And Venge bought back previously. Who do they want to target? They'll both jump to Venge and the Clinks at the same time, recognizing that the Spirit Breaker can just avoid the damage from Hao at the moment. It's going to turn to stand his ground with the BKB, but without the heroes to protect him, Hao's in trouble. A shockwave to prevent the retreat. And once again, they'll flood over the squishy heroes.
It's the way that Mizu's taking every single one of these team fights is so amazing, right? Like, he might not be able to get the bash onto the Clinks, you know, he knows that. But he uses the Charge of Darkness through the Clinks onto the squishier heroes that he knows that he can guarantee.
TA. In your dreams nearby as well.
Under attack.
I was needing a couple more bashes.
Shadows, take us.
Well, we'll go back and take those bounties now. I don't know if the right move is to take this top tower, though. I mean, the creeps will do it anyway, but that just refreshes the glyph, potentially allows you to defend a little bit easier, not have to use the Clink's buyback.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That extra greater bash chance now on
Radiant
Mizu.
structures are fortified.
Plus 25, not added to the tooltip, so 42%.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
When are the team fights working well for Yangon, and how can they replicate their past successes through those fights?
I feel like they're doing a pretty good job at picking off the silencer super early. I feel like it does all stem around Mizu at this point, right? Because if you're able to catch him out, yes, he's incredibly tanky. You know, level 25, 3000 HP, BKB. But if you're able to get that initial lockdown onto him, use the nullifier so you're not having the impact of the bulldoze, then I feel like it just takes away so much of their commitment on Galaxy Racer. So as hard as it might be to take out this Spirit Breaker, I feel like if it's played as a core, it is necessary. Support, you don't really have to worry about it, right? Because you're not going to scale, you're not going to be doing the damage as much as previously. It feels like that sort of situation is a hero that you should probably be ignoring. Not this time around, though. Mizu needs to die.
Even though the net worth lead is back into Galaxy Racer's favor, Yangon are still well and truly in a position where they can contest his second game, with Klink's top of the net worth and Young PH shortly behind. His fresh set of items here completed. What is Hao almost got? He's working on an AC, it looks like.
Just want to get, again, that little bit of extra survivability for his team. I mean, as much as I was talking about all of Yangon's damage being physical, the vast majority of it on Galaxy Racer is also that. You know, of course you've got the Finger of Death, of course you've got the Avatos combo, but Spirit Breaker, Tiny Right Click, Magnus, it's all physical.
Are you favoring Yangon's lineup heading to the later stages with how they can scale with their kind of greedy cores, or do you believe Galaxy Racer maybe has an edge there with their team fight?
Radiant
I think it's going to depend if TA gets up to level 25. Having the extra 8 refraction charges is going to be enormous for just being able to stand and man fight, particularly if you get off an early BKB and you're not able to get through them with the use of the Avalanche or the Arcane Curse. Ooh, they found out here. It's going to be Alacrity just getting out in time.
They're not all connected. Galaxy Racer have to be very cautious on the positioning. Won't find anyone as now this... They've got some lane maintenance they need to do, top and bottom shoved in.
I think they actually knew that the Clinks was nearby because the AC aura was on the Tiny that entire time. So great presence to be able to know and understand that and immediately react to it.
Just the little things potentially keeping you from life and death here, and that could have been a window for Yangon. They're pinging out the tree line. I wonder if they actually investigate where Mizu might be hiding.
A long Roche respawn. Yangon, they're the ones that have the benefit of information, though. Obviously, the TA trap constantly there, even having the clockwork just to consistently scout out when Galaxy Racer might be looking to try and join in. It is a long spawn timer, though, so it's going to be a long time, and you have to wonder how long do they actually want to stay in this region around their triangle.
They need to give some farm to Zorain. He really needs this Lotus Orb. We saw previously with the bottom fight that they cleaned off the ages. They just, you know, were able to skewer back global silence to stop any swap defensive potential. So Zorain needs a way to purchase off. Otherwise, there's a window for Galaxy Racer with their, you know, displacement just to really prevent the Venge from getting this safety off. So I really want to see them do something to enable Zorain. And he might take top farm.
He'll take this top farm. He can even sell the Circlet and the Slippers of Agility if he really is desperate. But yeah, you can just see the rest of the team clumping up behind him, making sure that he has that safety to be able to pick it up. But in the meantime, it was the 40-minute mark, so TA purchased up. Speaking of the TA, she's getting dived in onto. Have to be a little careful here. If they committed onto that, they probably could have killed her, to be honest. The rest of the team was a little bit further away, but that's the Lotus now. Finished up for Venge.
That's huge. They're going to look for a smoke instantly, but Dire holding their high ground. Oh, they found Yokam. That's a pretty key target if they can kill him off. A lot of the control from Galaxy Racer. They have to charge on Hal. See if this vision can come into play, or if they're going to overstep the mark here. So they've been able to reset their positioning back. Zorain's going to get caught out. Simultaneously, Alacrity will prevent the Venge save. They're going to try and lock onto the Templar Assassin. They won't be able to do so. No, Alacrity, he's the one that's actually split from the team. But Mizu's going to give him a little bit of extra protection as In Your Dream jumps in. And RP onto both the cores. They'll look to blow up Hal with Alacrity standing hand in hand. Hal needs to just stand his ground and man fight. Satanic Pop is doing an incredible job to be able to bring down the Magnus, who's going to buy back if he wants to rejoin the fight. But it looks like Galaxy Racer were committing to losing it. As
Yangon, he lost his...
He
lost his bulldoze. Still having the speed from the Silver Edge, though, to be able to get away. He's just trying to, again, clear out this wave as quickly as possible. Charge on into it.
Third rush is up, but they want to walk it down. How with the DD? Mag's got a buyback, but you saw the Clinks could just man fight. 4,700 health. This hero's still beefy as the game goes on.
You want to force out that buyback as much as possible. The Observer Ward actually providing so much value right now for Galaxy Racer, just being able to find that next creep wave.
I like this. They're just going to instantly go back for Roche. They recognize backdoor's going to kick in. Let's just make sure we at least get a big, valuable objective.
Yeah, they were wanting to try and bait out the mag buyback, because even if he did, he wouldn't have had RP. It was a great RP in the previous team fight, but if you're able to get that extra life out of him, that would have just been the additional bonus. But still, you know, Mizu doing a good job to prevent that desperation play having to come out there. So though Yangon, they're putting themselves in a good spot, and I feel like that was the impact of the Lotus Orb, right? He was able to get it off to disrupt the use of the global silence in that team fight. So it was nullified a little bit, of course, because of the fact that Polison, he's got the Refresher Orb, and they've even prioritized giving him the Spell Prism too.
Do you like that they gave the Aghanims over to the Clinks instead of the TA? Like, are you in agreement it looks like that the TA Ags has been nerfed heavier than what I thought a lot of people had thought of initially?
I think it is now a very strong Aghanim Scepter. Before it was broken, you know, so I think it's still somewhat balanced here.
Oh, Mizu?
Ooh.
Allies disappear.
Honestly, even Lun getting to his level 20 could be pretty significant, having that Rocket Flare True Sight to be able to scout out any sorts of movements from the Spirit Breaker in particular. Going to be very effective. Giving it over to the Clinks for the Burning Army, it's not going to be too bad, right? Because it still feels like you're feeling somewhat anxious about broaching high ground. So if you can at least throw that Burning Army up there, you get a little bit of information by, you know, making sure your little skeleton men are firing away, might disrupt the Blink Dagger perhaps onto In Your Dream or Jokam, and that's the little window that you need to be able to give yourself a better position into these engagements. Because, like, when you think about it, look at all the stuff they've got. You know, you can get a blink toss back, you can get a skewered back, you can just get RP'd. There's so much that has the threat of being able to take you down if you're out of position inside the dire base.
Yeah, it looks like Radiant have had enough as well with the Spirit Breaker and all the vision. They're just looking to suffocate Galaxy Racer inside the base with this early gem pickup. Oh, early, I should say. More like a later gem pickup on the Venge.
What's the buyback status looking like? Just
they make the attempt.
Oh, there we go. That's
Skewer back with the
nice
instant swap. Now Maggie doesn't want to pop the BKB early, but the Skadi might force him to. Another toss away.
Again.
Another toss away. Alacrity. Nice reposition.
Gotta kill him though.
Well, Gem's gonna be
On
dropped on the deck. Meanwhile, on the backline, Mizu will clean up another hero on the clockwork. Do they go in now? It's a 4v3. You can buy back on Mizu. They haven't gotten the set of barracks just yet, and they will. Does he get the charge off before? Okay, they're hunting young PH. Mizu instantly closing the gap. Is the chain control perfect? In fact, the arrow's even better. Mizu, he just pulled back. Oh, TA turns it back around, and now they'll try and aim the Tiny. Alacrity will attempt to stand his ground. He'll get some protection here with the invisibility, but in your dream now they'll lack onto him once again. The toss is coming into the frame, but the arrow's on point. Skill lays such an incredible team fight from the Mirana, but Alacrity, look at the commitment. They know this team fight, this defense might just give them an angle to come back into the game. It's multiple tosses inside the base. TA, no BKB, so no escape. A skewer further inside the fountain. They're still looking for more. Geocam will zap down another. Luckily enough for Hal, Clinks will make the escape.
No buyback either on the TA. Still 3-minute cooldown. Doesn't even have the money for it either. So another great individual play coming out from Alacrity there, enabling them to be saved in that team fight. It really felt that with that Mizu dieback that things could have potentially gone from bad to worse for Galaxy Racer, but another great play coming out there from the mid Tiny, and now they're looking to try and convert it into something further. Luckily enough though, they've got the traps laid out into the mid lane, so they'll be able to slow down this push.
Radiant are scanning.
Alright, how much was forced on die? So Mizu buyback and Alacrity buyback. Who's got the gem as well? Yocam, okay.
Yep. Oh.
They're coming out actually, Yangon.
Radiant's courier has been
Only got 3 heroes at the moment. Hal trying to lead the charge.
Like dagger onto Jocam. Sentry dropped.
And
They know who has the gem.
balls on these guys. Alacrity's a bit split.
He's a lot split. Although without the hook shot, they don't have the initiation potential just yet.
This game, man, the Clinks is so farmed.
Yep.
So okay, so it looks like this hero is still kind of crazy.
Just can't get to that spot quite as fast as you used to. That's the big issue, you know. So you can be punished by these teams that can run you over. What's Vengeful Spirit going into here? Bought out the energy booster and the Void Stone, so obviously looking to go into the Aether Lens. But I mean, why buy out those components when you had buyback previously? So what if you take a team fight and lose it, and you don't have the Aether Lens or the buyback? You know, feels like a bit of a waste.
What have we here?
I mean, is there a lineup you would be rather to be in a position at the moment at this stage in the game?
I mean, the net worth, like 5,000 net worth at this point, doesn't mean anything. So I feel like this is all just going to come down to buybacks. And if we look at it with the success from that previous team fight, it feels that Yangon are probably in a little bit of a stronger place, right? Your 2 of the cores don't have the buyback at this point in time, and that could be the key difference maker.
Galaxy Racer are coming out. They're not going to jump though. They actually had a bit of a window there considering Yangon was split 2 and 3. But again, it's just the teetering from back and forth of the lanes, and Spirit Breaker doing whatever he can to play the side as well. They do see TA farming pretty aggressively by the outpost. They
Not
might
as
catch
much
Saw
juice
Rain at the
prospect.
moment. RP onto
Double
2 with
RP.
the instant burst as well, but the Alacrity's AoE, and they'll lay it down the Global Silence to make sure there's no rebuttal as Yangon just have to get out of dodge.
All right. Well, they were able to take that out, and pretty costly outpost taken away from them there. It does come down to individual skill as well, right? I feel like in that team fight where they forced out a few buybacks and only didn't lose the game off the back of Alacrity being able to toss people back, Skill A hit 2 full duration arrows onto the key targets to be able to lock them down. First one was the Spirit Breaker outside of the Bulldoze because he had the Nullifier affecting him. And then the second one was the Tiny, forcing the second buyback out.
But Alacrity's having another incredible game though. 17, 3, and 13. Top of the net worth in regards to Galaxy Racer. He's looking for a Daedalus as his next item. It's level 28 as well. How close? Also, Clinks is almost level 29, so... Okay, we're 10 minutes away, Danog, to 60 minutes.
You reckon we'll get there? I feel like this is the kind of
think so.
game that you'll just, like, the game will just end after a single team fight.
Yeah, I think that'll be the case as well. Both these teams have relatively solid push at this stage, especially with how the Tiny's itemized.
Clinks is gonna look to itemize for. He's holding onto a Dragon Lance. He's gonna go Moonshot. Like, he's got a lot of money.
I mean, you may as well. There's nothing else he... I mean, you could think about Boots of Travel. You could think about even going... I don't even know if you actually think about a Hurricane Pike and just put it in once the BKB is used.
Do they have any nullifiers on
Galaxy?
Galaxy Racer's lineup?
Not that I
Doesn't
can
look like
see.
it just yet. Well, it's going to become very important shortly that they do, because you've got a Mirana that's incredibly close to finishing her Wind Waker. So any kind of target that they're looking to go on, you know, if you commit the RP and Skill A's there with the backup to be able to try and catch out and save.
My eyes closed.
They're doing it
rocket
really
flare probably
fast
reveals
too. In your dream? Is he gonna find an avenue into the fight? They're too late? Fourth Roche completely free.
Radiant's middle tower
Sorry,
is
Ags
under
on the
attack.
deck. Young PH picks it up, and he's going to look to move around this team, the map so much quicker.
That is a huge Roche to find, because Galaxy Racer are very ultimate reliant. So now with the second life, you may be forced to blow a big ulti just to clean them up the once, and we'll see if that will then cost Galaxy Racer. Who got everything? We got Refresher, Cheese, and Ages on Young PH. He just gave Refresher over to Hal. And we had another Aghanims, right? Oh, that was given to TA2.
Yeah. I wonder if the strategy for Galaxy Racer right now is, look, we know they're feeling strong. They've got Aegis. They want to push into us. Let's just wait for our buybacks on the Tiny and the Spirit Breaker, and then we can maybe go for another one of those plays, you know, where we can skewer back into the fountain. We can get tosses back into the fountain, and, you know, worst case scenario, if we need to buy back, at least we're right there and can look to rejoin in that fashion.
Yeah, we'll see
I feel
how
like
those...
it'd be a big mistake if they left the base, in my eyes.
I think
Probably
the
only
talent
Mizu can afford to, right?
to leave the base, yeah, probably. They might jump them before they get set up. We'll see how Zor Range 25 comes into play. Once again, skewer back. They need the toss. Alacrity is not going to find it. This time they laid down even Global Silence used as well. Polisson, of course, he's got the Refresher. Mizu, what a charge on the backline. Still, they haven't cleaned off the Templar Assassin. Another round of the Global Silence, but Mizu's in trouble. Forstaff to reposition himself, so a lot committed on the initial start. So swap away.
It was Lotus.
Bench. Now it's cost his life here. Young PH jump in, instantly cleans up the line, but it's going to cost him his positioning. There's another toss back. There he goes. Wait, where'd he go? What?
He's got
He went to the
charged through.
sky, but he's still down. Hexed up. Can they kill him the first time they can? They don't even need their zap. And now look at the rest of Radiant. They're too far split up to protect Young PH. He'll get the BKB off, reset his positioning. Simultaneously, Yangon, they're dealing with the objectives at the moment. So Galaxy Racer have to be cautious. They don't want to recommit, but whoa! RP onto multiple. The drag back from In Your Dream. Another toss in the fountain. This time it's a Clinks. Make it a party. It's 4 down on Yangon Galacticos. The sole survivor is Young PH. Somehow he'll make it away, but Another hold from Galaxy Racer. They do lose the full set, though.
They've still got the mid-racks left available, and they only had to use the Lion buyback for that one. That's the key difference there. So, I mean, it's going to be dangerous to try and make an aggressive sort of play, right? When you don't have the RP available, you don't have the extra damage coming through from your fountain to be able to take out some of these heroes. But I feel like you got to risk it for the biscuit at this stage.
Dude, how is the Spirit Breaker the first level 30 of the game? He's had an exceptional performance on this hero. This is stellar.
I mean, it's just personal experience, but I can't tell you the number of games that I've been dominating like the first 15 minutes, and then suddenly a Spirit Breaker who's like level 12 comes and wins 2 team fights and he's level 17. I don't know how it happens, but he always seems to have this ability to scale amazingly. Jokam here. I like it. Look, he's the one that's leading the charge for the creep wave conga line coming in behind him with the siege creeps as well. So making sure that TA trap isn't going to be able to kick in the backdoor protection.
Cliff used early. Double catapult for Galaxy Racer. Get the full set mid. No T2 towers, so they're going to stick around. It's a bit indecisive, and with Mizu, he's going to have to instantly turn back. Radiant still respawning in a couple seconds. Who are they going to look to find? Skewer just catching the clockwork. They're going to lay down the global silence to make sure they get the kill.
56 minutes. Maybe look to take the outpost back. I think you can afford to. It's going to be a team effort, so it's only going to take 2 seconds. But yeah, that global silence. If it picked up 2 heroes, maybe, you know, they could afford to continue pushing forward. But not with just the clockwork taken out, with buyback status unknown to Galaxy Racer at the time.
He's got 5,200 health. See if they can do
got
it.
4 people on
They've
him.
got top outpost too if they actually want to TP there. Well, instead, just use the global. And now Mizu, can he get the charge? He can be.
Swap.
Ooh. What's faster? Is Missile ever gonna?
There it is. Oh, the arrow too.
That is
counter smoke as well.
Global on cooldown. So, this is an incredible ward. They're gonna see Zorain and Skill lay, but more importantly, it's the Klings caught outside the base. He's incredibly tanky. Is he enough though to allow the rest of the reinforcements to swap on the outskirts? But still, they'll gap close and overwhelm How. And now the rest of the utility is vulnerable as Alacrity will chain toss up the Mirana. They've got the Abyssal to lock the Venge in the lane. And it looks like Galaxy Racer looking for more blood as well.
He's trying to force out buybacks here. He knows he's going to live.
This here is crazy at 30. Oh my god.
All the way back to base, and a simple charge just means that he gets right back. I want to time this.
Is this what Zhao 8 looked like on Spirit Breaker when he was playing? I didn't get to watch many of the games. Did he get to a stage like this?
It was probably worse, to be honest, because it was being played in the mid lane.
Ugh. I mean, the fact that how is he the same net worth as the Titan? That blows my mind. I mean, yes, he's had Midas for a while. Of course, we're kind of shying away from that, but Jesus Christ. He's one-hitting creep waves with it. Dude.
I wonder what his next item's going to be as well.
He's gone Blessing. But you mean after that?
Yeah, but he's also got 8,000 popped after that.
Moonshard?
Wouldn't be horrible. I don't think you need Boots of Travel too.
Young PH. Has to pop an early BKB. They set up for a beautiful RP, and now they can just bring him down with ease. As they tried to protect the high ground instantly, but they've got the mid and bottom wave getting shoved in. Again, I mean, we're just seeing the Galaxy Racer teamfight ultimates are really starting to be, I mean, for quite some time they have been, but Yangon just have no answer to him. There's so much chaos that's been started in the fights, mainly because of Mizu, so it's enabling these multi-heroes, Earth Spikes, RPs onto multiple cores. The global silences we've seen have been such an issue. Like, they haven't been able to deal with Polo, who, guess what? He's got Aghanim's level 25 as well. So all of a sudden, your silencer scales so well into the late game with his teamfight prowess, but now he's got a last word that mutes.
Yeah, you have to get that BKB off as soon as you see that last word onto yourself. Otherwise, you let it expire. Good luck having any kind of impact in these team fights. Bit of an edgy take, but I know support lives matter. But was it a mistake giving the Aghanim's Scepter, Aghanim's Blessing over to the TA instead of the Clockwork, for example? Because I feel like if you have the Overclock, you at least have that secondary layer of stuns that could potentially go through. And in this game, where you're up against a Spirit Breaker, you don't really want to be off on the side ratting by yourself, because the team's going to be able to quickly join in on you and take you out. So I feel like maybe the double stuns could have been a big difference maker for Yangon this time around.
Oh.
60 minutes though.
We made it. Apex picked up. There were a lot of tier 5 items that did get nerfed. I believe Apex attributes was one of them. So 75 down to 70. It's not too crazy. But
Give him the Giant's ring.
oh, who surely died and get it? Oh my god.
Oh yes, they did.
Oh, no.
It's tinies. Still pretty damn good on a tiny.
I mean, now you don't care about cogs. Jesus Christ.
He hasn't even popped BKB, man.
Oh my.
Do you get bigger with Satanic as well?
I'm not sure. Now you have Spirit Breaker still holding Spider Legs? Yeah, he is. So you've got multiple ways now to not care about cogs. Dude, he's huge. Force as well. That's nice on a support to reposition. Oh, Seer Stone's going to be cool for the...
Lun went Rocket Flare damage instead of True Sight. That seems a little odd to me, In the middle of a lot of these team fights, we've seen the occasional Silver Edge look to try and save. Even just being able to constantly have... rather than having to walk up to a high ground to try and de-ward it, you can just toss that out and then better how to approach any kind of choke points. Like that one, for example, that would show
they're
smoking. They have vision on the high ground.
They're actually just going to try and bring it down. Yocam, he's got a Shadow Blade. So it won't be another free Roche. They have to be careful if they clump up. Which they're doing at the moment. In your dream, he needs to jump. Roche is about to fall, but can they get out afterwards? They'll cancel the blinks. There's no way they get another free Roche.
Not to Paulson, but...
My lord.
You say there's no way, but look at the material. It's right there.
Alright, so we got to go through everything real quick. Shard on Skill Lay. Aghanims, there you go on Lun, so he will get it. The Cheese on the Clockwork as well. Cheese also on Zorain. TA's got Shard and Ages. And then we still have...
Where are those Book of the Dead creeps? That's what I want to see. Lun, he's used it already. Is it on the top side? Was it used in that team fight?
Wait, Book of Shadows is new, isn't it? Okay, hang on. What's this do?
Newish. No one used it. I think it sucks.
Interesting. They still haven't found all of theirs on Radiant. I have got all 5. No one's holding Mirror Shield. Okay, Silencer on Spell Prism. I wonder if you'd rather hold multiple. See, he's even got Philosopher's Stone in the back. Like, someone just... Sure, when you pop Global, your Refresher, I imagine there's going to be a stage where you won't need the Spell Prism. Oh, I say that last word,
now
though.
that he's
Never
level
mind.
25.
Yeah, never mind, never mind.
Like 8.2 second cooldown on a 6-second silence that also mutes. I mean, come on.
Alright, so are there any game-breaking tier 5s that you believe will kind of force this second game to be crazier than what it is?
Shadows.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I want to see that Giant's ring, baby. I want to see it come into effect. They actually gave it over to Mizu eventually, so it's not going to be the big boy Tiny.
Dude, that's
I mean,
so
when you
scary.
think about it, right? He's someone that wants to be charging through people, So much more likely to be able to get off the secondary bonus for it. Even providing with that extra movement speed on top of everything.
His bash is going to do so much damage.
Nearly 1,600 movement speed.
What the hell?
Imagine... Can you imagine if he just, goes through a support and they just die? Not even hitting them?
How much damage do you think the charge would do? Well, Fraction's not going to find out. Global Silence use instantly. It's nice swap away to at least give some space, but again, in your dream, dropping the RP onto multiple heroes. Another round of the Global Silence as well. They've cleaned off Zorain, and meanwhile, the river, Yangon just can't deal with the heavy teamfight ultimates that Galaxy Racer have, and without the buybacks, they're still looking to stick around as Young PH and Clinks having a free fight at the moment with the BKB. Young PH so looking to target them down, even going to use the Psionic Projection to gap close in the backline, but now they've compromised their positioning as Yangon have to get out of dodge, but they won't have an opportunity as Mizu.
That Psionic Projection, he just zipped and dodged everywhere. Oh, it's still going. The game is still going.
Jesus Christ. Dude, I'm just watching this Spirit Breaker.
It's Hot Wheels.
Dude, he's hit the gym for centuries, and this is his final form. Like, the armor just suits him so... Oh, Radiant? Oh, no. Young PH. Mizu's team's a little bit behind him, so it's going to enable TA to get the BKB. Simultaneously, Yokam, nice Hex. Stopping the Clinks from getting any follow-up damage while they target the Templar Assassin. They're going to drag him further away. It's a position 1 and 2, hand in hand right now for Yangon Galacticos, but I don't know if they can do it just with the two of them, even though with the buyback coming into the fray, the lockdown is too much for them to deal with. The first life taken out of effect, and now they should be able to deal with the second. And the nice reactions with the blink away. They do force out the Clink's buyback nonetheless, but they are just, again, overwhelming Yangon, and there's so much chaos where they can't kill anyone, man. Like Spirit Breaker, 6k health, Tiny, 4,300 health. He's even got a Rapier as well to boot. Magnus, 4,500 health.
Okay, I didn't notice the Rapier.
Do you feel like he needs this?
Probably not.
Like, we've seen what happens. I don't know, like, they're a 19,000 net worth lead. It's very hard to lose this game, I feel like. Even though the probability says it's quite even. But I don't know if they needed the Rapier. Obviously, they feel like they did to take it, which I found interesting.
Maybe he's just trying to one-shot the Mirana before the Aeon Disc can actually come into the equation.
Okay. I see it. I see the angle.
He can definitely do it. He's got the Daedalus as well on top of all of his other items, so... He's a scary boy. Level 30 as well.
Does this also make you a little bit happier seeing the Venge bottom net worth?
A little bit, yeah. You can only give your life up so many times before, it's going to impact you in, a 60-plus minute game. Always know that's going to be the case. Hal has to be a little careful here. As, the Lotus Orb getting rid of the Newt. Nicely done, just in case.
Still got the refresher shot on the Clinks in the backpack as well, so it'll be a double BKB, double burning army. See what can happen. Oh, wait, what
the thing that I see in this game is, I know we talk about Mizu a lot, right? And it's for pretty damn good reason. This is an offlane Spirit Breaker that's the top of the net worth with 16, 4, 19 kill score. But it feels like Yangon Galacticos are so much weaker when they don't have their BKBs, and I feel like he's changed around his mentality about how to take these team fights where, sure, he's charging through multiple units, getting a lot of disruption, but he's specifically looking to charge the units now, the Clinks and the TA, when they've got the BKBs up, because that is one way that you can always guarantee to get the Greater Bash off during that spell immunity.
Do you know with the... Oh, hold that thought. Clinks is good at the base. He needs some assistance. I don't know if he's going to get it fast enough, though. Multiple ultimates drop just to secure the kill, and Clinks is down for 120 seconds, and the hopes with Yangon maybe lost with that.
Hell was that sound? Oh, Ex Machina. It's been so long. I just heard a sound. I'm like, what the?
Get to that stage.
The second Rapier is queued up by Alacrity.
Okay, so does the Arcanus armor, which I still feel like is
I have never played against it.
Okay, well, I was going to say, like, do you believe it'll go through the reflect damage through BKB? Because this item I've seen, at least in demo mode, so it's not like, of course, you can't really... I mean, we're 68 minutes in, we can get a bit crazy. It seemed stupid when people were like, hang on, what's this item do? Let's test it instantly, and Your Galaxy Rays have a lot of damage. Reflecting all of that, especially Rapier, that's a Monka W.
I'm not sure if it's going to be like have the same properties as Blade Mail or if its own unique thing. You know?
They might swap into Arrow. Let's see if they can get the Rapier. They're doing a lot of damage, but great target from Mizu. Straight on the TA, giving Alacrity ample time to pop the cheese, and now they can turn of Yangon. They've compromised their positioning. It was a big attempt to try and get the Tiny.
Nice,
They've at least got the Wind Waker to protect the TA. Global laid down as well, still needs some assistance. The BKB, can he get it off? The Mute consistently not giving an opportunity. Another swap defensively. He's actually back to safety, but that's a die back for your Venge. And now,
See you, Stone.
I mean, Clinks
Give
is
him
up at
vision.
25. Ready? They've got Glyph. I felt like there was the one opportunity maybe to get the Rapier.
Feels like they might even be tempted in.
Young PH. Okay, assassinates the Lion. Gotta go for Polo Sun as well. The first time we've seen them be able to kill off the
Second
support.
BKB.
You have to hope he has a buyback here on the Templar Assassin.
He
He's
does.
in trouble. A BKB, it's about to expire. Mizu back into the fray as well. But the charge instantly locking in any escape for the Templar Assassin, but it's given them time. A valuable asset that Radiant are requiring as the Clinks is back alive, but they've got to do it 4v5. Okay.
They're looking to back off because
Okay,
of
we
it.
got a Rapier, TA.
Coin for me.
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
There's that burst potential. It feels like they need to wait until that that BKB's off cooldown again. The big difference there with the Mizu.
Wait, Mizu?
I think
yeah,
he's
cool.
still fine.
Budo's. Yep, that's a great ability. Status resistance, cool concept.
Gotta be careful about killing those Necrobook units. Imagine if he killed himself there.
Okay, so we did see Radiant successfully kill the supports last fight. Let's see if they can get the Lion and Silencer to prevent, you know, the global and the chain lockdown. They're just making space. They want the Megas and they'll get it. Mizu might be the first death in quite some time. Can they get any more out of it? He's got a buyback here to instantly rejoin, but their base is in shambles, so Galaxy Racer have to make a decision. They have to make it fast as well. There's the buyback. They're going to jump power, but instantly with the BKB. They need some way to protect the Clinks. Venge is still down for 20. Power's still in trouble. Force that back inside the base. Alacrity as well. He's got the Rapier they need to protect, or do they? Alacrity doesn't give a damn in the world. They're straight on top of the Clinks. They'll drop the global silence and charge deeper and deeper. Their territory is now ours, as it feels like finally, with only 2 heroes. My calculations feel like this is
the
not
AoE
enough
Hex.
as Yokam to end it all. A beautiful setup followed up by the RP. A statement on this game as Galaxy Racer will take the series 2-0. A 72-minute thriller.
Probably wasn't expecting that. I mean, for a game to go 72 minutes with one team only getting 30 kills in that entire time, just goes to show the difference in the mentality for both of the teams, I suppose. One of them obviously being a lot more farm-oriented, one that's just going all in onto the aggression. And Galaxy Racer did exactly what they needed to. Probably took them a little bit longer than they might have liked, and well, who knew that this was a little bit of a premonition for what was to come with Mizu just being that Giants ring-holding beast, just bulldozing his way through the entire game. I mean, Alacrity, 29, 4, and 21 as well.
Yeah, we've seen Alacrity pop off recently on a lot of his spirits, but apparently he can do it on the Rockman as well. Like you were saying, I mean, his KDA was through the roof. He had the almost highest damage. It was Clinks on top with 85k. Alacrity just had 82,000, but what I guess, you know, you are the Oracle. Like you said, you guessed that the Giants ring was going to come into the play. I mean, for Yangon as well, with how game 1 ended, you know, unfortunate circumstances, they're now going to game 2 where they have to go 71 minutes, 72 minutes, which is crazy, a back and forth game. But do you feel like it was just the overwhelming amount of team fight which was the big issue at the end, or was there still other things where Galaxy Racer did at an exceptional level?
Overwhelming team fight, but also I feel like the Clockwork it's one of those heroes that just massively drops off at the super late stages of the game. Like, sure, you have eventually 2 BKB piercing disables with the Aghanim Scepter, but other than that, you feel very useless. You know, you compare that to the likes of a silencer who has the Aghanim scepter for an AoE silence to add on to your global, which also mutes. Compare that to a lion, which, you know, if it gets to super late stage, he's got the arcane blink, combines that into the AoE hex, chains it into another AoE hex afterwards. Finger of Death was ramping up to +8 stacks towards the end of it. So there just was even more scaling potential on the supports coming through. But I mean, I don't think you get to that point if you don't have as dominant a performance as Alacrity did in that laning stage, which should not have happened in my eyes. And Mizu, he certainly popped off as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. The fact that the Spirit Breaker was the net worth that he ended 3,000 behind the Tiny, but there was a long stage in that game where he was on top, which is, I mean, a Spirit Breaker, that's not what I'm expecting at all. But we've shown that we've seen, I should say, that Mizu's been able to transition into this position 3 at such a rapid rate. But what a game we have. This is only our first series, and for Yangon Galacticos still showing that they can take it up against a lot of the top teams in SCA. I know Galaxy Racer they're 10th position at the moment, but they've only played 2 series, so you wouldn't really feel like this is where they are suited on the ladder. But Yangon, they signs of life still, a team that is incredibly young. We see how they're able to fare versus Galaxy Racer, and it was just a beautiful showing nonetheless. Even though they couldn't take it, they still have to be very happy with coming out of today, and they've got 3 series left, and all winnable series as well. Execration, OB Neon, and Army Geniuses. And currently with how they're sitting, Yangon, they're tied 5th at the moment. So they are definitely in a position where they can make it through. I don't think they'll make it to the upper bracket, but just making sure they don't get eliminated is the big factor. But we still have another 2 series of the night. Next up is going to be Execration versus Army Geniuses. We'll have a short break with our second series starting shortly.